Welcome and thank you for joining us for Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 5 review. As always, I'm Joey,
I'm Ryan.
and we're going to be discussing everything spoilers, non spoilers for Episode 5 called The Jedi. So before we get into anything spoilers, we're going to play it safe and get into non spoilers. So I wanted to kick it to you, Ryan, first. Just what were your overall thoughts on the episode?
By far, this was my favorite episode. I think in in every stretch of the imagination, right? I think it has everything, and we talked a lot about this last week. What I was looking for, and my concerns about Baby Yoda, and where that storyline was going. Um, and we talked last week also about Ahsoka and what that looked like. And so I had a lot of question marks about where the rest of this season was going. And man, did this episode deliver. From an action standpoint, I don't think at this point this is a spoiler. I think everyone assumed, and Dave Filoni was directing this, I think everyone already kind of knew that Ahsoka was going to be making her debut.
And when you've got an episode called The Jedi, it's kind of hard not to assume and put things together before
there was going to be a Jedi
starts.
in this.
That's what's going down. And at this point in the timeline, Ahsoka makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And so, I think we'll talk a little bit about it a little later, but I think what Ahsoka and Rosario Dawson brought to this role is something that I have only dreamed of, right? When I think of a live action Ahsoka. And so that was amazing. The action was amazing. I will say that Disney has shut me up. I have all of the Baby Yoda information that I need to know. And so, they really did a good job of fleshing Baby Yoda's story out. So, you have a good idea of kind of where he's come from and where he's going as an individual character, and also how Mando fits into Baby Yoda's storyline. Because that was always my biggest question mark. Is I know what Mando's doing, but what's Yoda doing? What's the deal with this kid? Besides just eating everything it sees. So, I think those are really the two big things for me. Seeing Ahsoka and for the first time in live action, seeing getting a little bit more depth about Baby Yoda. And there were a lot of, and I won't even say a lot, but there was for me one really big reveal that I've been looking for Mandalorian to have a big oh shit, holy fuck balls moment, and I finally got it. And so, overall, I think this was by far the best episode. I don't think it's even close, to be honest with you. So yeah, I loved it. I mean, if I were to give it a rating, man, 10 out of 10.
Wow, very nice. I would agree with everything, and I'll make sure not to gravitate into spoiler territory. But I think my take on this episode was I enjoyed getting into some lore, and again, once we talk spoilers, we'll get into all of that. But this is the episode I think we've been waiting for not only this season, but probably season 1 and season 2. One of the things about Star Wars fans is we love the lore, and I think that's really been missing from some of the most recent movies, some of the most recent pieces of storytelling, whether it's comics or books. We really love the lore. We love getting into it. One of the things Dave Filoni is really good at is giving us those kinds of things, some details. This episode gave us a lot as far as character development, not only for characters that exist, but even some of the characters that we haven't seen in a while. And they even managed to set up quite a bit of story points and pieces of character for the rest of the season. Again, without spoilers, there are a lot of implications from this episode as to where not only this whole season is going to go, but honestly, I think to where the entire series is going to go, potentially some Star Wars changing things. So I think by far my favorite aspect was some of that character piece. So without getting, it's hard to even get into those details.
Can I just say one thing?
Can I say
one thing, Joey?
Of course.
Can I just say one thing, Joey? Dave Filoni,
the man.
Dave Filoni. That's all I have to say. Just Dave Filoni. He just, you know, if there were ever somebody that knew Star Wars better than the creator himself,
Yeah.
it's Dave Filoni. Just just Dave Filoni. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, it's something that I had to think about. I've rewatched a couple of the scenes from the episode, and one of the things that I was really thinking about was, you know, with everything that we got with Clone Wars, everything that we got with Rebels, and again, without spoiling anything, when it comes to expanding the lore of Star Wars, George Lucas, he started the whole thing. He's got the entire background, and of course, he's had a lot of conversation with Filoni, so it's not all Filoni, but he might be doing or might have done more for Star Wars at this point in building lore than even Lucas. And I know
That's what I'm saying.
that's pretty bold to say, but I think that's one of
You know
the
what Dave
coolest things
Filoni
about
does?
this season and this series.
You know what Dave Filoni does, and then we can move on. Dave
Yep.
Filoni knows how to build worlds. He just gets it. He knows how to build
Yep.
worlds, and a lot of
And
things
not
that
only worlds, interesting worlds,
yeah,
diverse worlds, worlds
yeah,
that we haven't seen before.
yeah. One of the things that I've heard about Star Wars is that it's as big as this universe is, right? They have made Star Wars out to be this gigantic universe, all these different places. But we always go back to the same places. We're always revisiting the same people. It's always the same stuff. Dave Filoni has expanded the universe. And because of him, it's just so many more diverse stories we can tell, different avenues that we can go. It just makes it exciting, right? I know when I get a Dave Filoni project, I know that I'm going to see something that I have not seen before, or someone's story is going to be expanded that adds lore, right? It adds something to the story. So
Yep. Couldn't
that's all
agree
that's
more.
all I got. Yep.
All right, perfect. So I think that's a good non-spoiler summary of our thoughts about the episode. So now we're going to shift.